Alrighty, a very, very happy Wednesday, and welcome to the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. My name is Justin. Today is March 18th of 2026, and I hope everyone has had themselves a good day yesterday. Happy belated St. Patrick's Day. I know I wished everyone St. Patrick's Day yesterday. I love watching sports on St. Patrick's Day. A lot of teams wear green, especially out there during spring training. We have a busy show for you. We got to get underway very quickly. Got a lot to cover. We'll talk about the Cincinnati Reds as we get ready for opening day. Major League Baseball is just 1 week away. A week from today, we will see the New York Yankees taking on the San Francisco Giants at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. Game 1 of 162 begins officially next Wednesday. For the Reds, well, they got to wait one more day. They begin their season against the Red Sox next Thursday, and I'm getting excited, man. It's March Madness football. There's baseball. We got NFL talk. The road to WrestleMania is heating up. For me, this is the time of year. This is the time of year where everything is just on a roll. Spring, the season, everything is great. And so we are excited. I'm distracted by the blinds behind me, but we'll do that. We'll talk about the Detroit Tigers and the Milwaukee Brewers in a preview on today's hour. We'll also talk some more wrestling conversations as we continue to push the progress towards WrestleMania and then some other news. So let's start off. I wanted to kick things off here today. Okay. Thanks everyone for tuning in to us on our YouTube page. We really appreciate you watching us. We encourage you to get involved in the chats, talk with us, let us know what you guys are thinking as we talk about these stories, about these news breaking through. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you haven't had those notifications on, please do so. We will, at this point later this week, hopefully provide you an update with what's going on our channel as our gaming content it continues to thrive. Want to thank everyone for that support as well. But also for Facebook, I know this isn't necessarily live when you guys are able to watch this, something that I am working on. If you guys know how to change that, I have the professional mode on our Facebook page, and I've looked through the settings the other day, and I just can't find a way to make that public. It locks it, makes it only me, and I can't adjust it or edit it until after the video. So I try to get it up live as soon as we can. I do apologize for any inconvenience, but please like, share, and leave a comment in the video. I read these comments, and I will get back to you. And a matter of fact, I'll share with that on our channel the next day. So please be involved. But if you guys want to get involved, we are live Monday through Friday from noon to 1 on our YouTube channel. Please come over here and let's talk sports. Otherwise, if you guys are listening to us, thank you for downloading us and making us your sports talk show of the afternoon, wherever you guys get your podcast at. We are there. And we encourage you to download us, follow us. It does so much to help support us and what we are doing here as we continue to thrive and continue to grow. So thank you. Well, last night was not less of a disappointing day. You know, it's hard not to be biased when I am a USA fan. I'm born and raised in US, and you see a lot of the best players of today's generation playing the game that we ultimately love. And in yesterday's showdown, we saw the team Venezuela in a very close game, I will mention, beat Team USA in the World Baseball Classic Championship. Final score was 3-2. And I will say that this was a very good game. Now, this is just me. I'm not. There's nothing that I could sit here and say negatively about this game. And this is why it's so hard to also predict. So, on one hand, I want to see Team USA win. On the other hand, you got players like Salvador Perez. You got players like Eugenio Suarez out there representing his country, and we support those players. There's a lot of emotions behind, both teams and why they should win. And, I thought both teams went out there, played really good baseball. It was down to the last coating. The Team USA was not getting anything done up until the bottom of the eighth inning when Bryce Harper comes to bat and hits a just monstrous crush out to deadaway center field, and we tie the game. And I'm on the edge of my seat thinking, man, this is going to be a wild finish. We may go into extra innings, and I'm listening to the broadcast and how they explaining this, how the deeper this goes, it favors Team USA. And I'm like, we may actually be able to pull this off. I got concerned when we lost to Italy back in the pool play, and so I had the confidence going in there. And it's just, Whitlock comes in, he ends up giving up a run. It was off of Gino, who hits a RBI double out to center field, and he scores in the game-winning run, and Venezuela comes to the bottom of the ninth inning, pitching-wise, and 3 up, 3 down, just like that. And so congratulations to Venezuela, their first team title in the World Baseball Classics. Very emotional. What I really appreciate this, okay? It's been their statement from game one. They didn't thank each other. They didn't give each other credit. It's all going to the Lord above. Very faithfulness, a lot of religion aspect into it. Some people don't want to hear it, but I enjoy it. When they recognize and they put, their faith as number one, and they thank how they got this far, and they thank who helped lead them there. How can you not love this game? Very emotional, and this is just the right settings. For me, this is a bigger emotional standpoint compared to the World Series. It got to me. I was enthusiastic. That's what sold me in on the World Baseball Classic. And now I'm ready to go. I'm washed, I'm thrived. I got my energy going, and I'm ready for the regular season. I'm ready for the regular season. Okay. Mikado, he goes in and wins this game. I have all this on our Facebook page, but Mikado, he goes in and pitches an inning and a third. He gave up a hit, gave up 2 runs, gave up the home run to Bryce Harper in the bottom of the inning, 8th inning. Eduardo Rodriguez for Venezuela pitched 4 and a third of an inning, gave up a hit, no runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Nolan McLean, who I think had a better outing than last time, fair to say. He pitched 4 and 2/3 of an inning, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, and gave up 1 home run. Palencia ends up saving the game as he struck out 2 of the 3 batters. Willier Abreu hits a home run off of McLean in the 5th inning as Bryce Harper hits a home run in the 8th inning off of Mikado. Not very much scoring activities going on. It was primarily all defense, but that's what kept us on our edge. So congratulations again to Team Venezuela for winning the World Baseball Classics. Players are headed back to their spring training, wherever they're at. I looked at the World Baseball Classics here, and I just told myself, these are, if players have not been selected on a team, maybe teams are out there looking for the, missing pieces to their squad, and you could take away from players who are not or representing their country, but has not been selected on a team yet. So, but I really just think that, we can come back as a Cincinnati Reds fan. I come back and I'm excited. Gino supplied a really big hit in a really big, crucial situation. How do you not get excited about that? As a Reds fan, knowing that what Suarez could do right now, carrying that over heading into the opening day season, with all the things that are piling on that just says, that could kind of tear us down, Venezuela lifted us up. So it's unfortunate. We'll be back at it again. Hopefully next time we can pull away with the victory. But kudos to Venezuela. All right, tonight's the night, 24 hours about before polls close in the NCAA bracket tournaments. If you haven't made your selections in, do that now. Yesterday's play-in tournaments, let me see if I have that popped up already. Yep. Yesterday's play-in tournaments, we saw UMBC lose to Howard 86-83, and then we saw Texas in a low-scoring game beat NC State 68-66. So they advance. Now we see tonight on True TV at 6:40 p.m. Prairie View takes on Lehigh, while Miami, Ohio takes on SMU. Prairie and Lehigh tip-off is at 6:40, while Miami, Ohio and SMU tip-off is at 9:15. I did post a video this morning about a segment that I did yesterday on this show. Love to read your guys' response. I got a response from Joe Holtzman. He said, let's be realistic there. Okay, the Mid-American Conference is not a good basketball conference. Season that comes from a guy that he's coming from a guy that has graduated the University of Toledo. Okay, and it's a mid-major conference, and they didn't play anybody to speak of. And I totally agree. Like, there's nothing wrong with what he said. I actually liked what he said. I appreciate him commenting on the video. Love to see more of those. It's the unfortunate thing about the MAC, right? It's not a big conference. They don't get to select to play against the top teams against other conferences. And I get that. It's still something to be said when you go undefeated. You went 18-0 in conference play, which is given. There's nothing much to be said about that. But then you had another, 23 games outside the conference that you've gone and beat. Okay, 13 games. And so, I understand all of that concept. But when you go undefeated, it doesn't matter what team you are, it doesn't matter what conference you are, you should be recognized. Now, I think this would have been a different story if Miami, Ohio went and won their conference. They would be comfortably, I really strongly believe they would be comfortably in the NCAA tournament. But what I'm trying to just point out and just make clear about all of this is that these are smaller programs that don't get to have these bigger, games at bigger stakes. And when they achieve something, it's brushed off. It's thrown away and said, hey, here's a pat on the back. What do you want? It is an undefeated season in any sport is very difficult to come by. Doesn't matter what the schedule is. It doesn't matter who you have on your team. You do not see an undefeated schedule a lot. They weren't ranked. They weren't. They weren't ranked in the NCAA. At least not from what I've seen, at least. And I feel like that puts a weight on the value of these smaller programs. Let's take a look at the Cincinnati Bearcats. You could have yourself a couple good seasons, whether it's basketball, football, or baseball, and they move into a different conference, and now they sit at the bottom of their totem pole. And they've had to work and claw their way back up to playing at that same level. I mean, San Diego State in the Mountain West Conference, let's face it, 10 years ago, it was an afterthought. It wasn't a big conference. It was considered as one of those bottom conferences. And San Diego State had to play multiple years of really good basketball. They've had to go and place high in NIT. They had to play high in other, tournaments. They finally got to the NCAA, and it doesn't stop there. Some teams, some programs, they don't have to do much and they're automatically in. Other programs, they have to have a perfect season and they still don't get recognized. And that's what I want NCAA, basketball, football, baseball, all to change. That's what I'm looking for. Where is the equality for it? It's like we go put all this work in and yet we don't see anything out of it. But Miami, despite the undefeated season, despite, and although they did lose in the first round of the conference tournament of the MAC, they have an opportunity to get into the tournament tonight as they take on the Mustangs and MSU. Tonight in Dayton, Ohio, the 31-1 Red Hawks will take on the 20-13 Mustangs, ranked number 11 is seeds in the Midwest region. The winner is scheduled to take on the 6-seeded Tennessee Friday in Philadelphia. Miami became the first Mid-American Conference team to earn a at-large bid in the NCAA since the Wally, I can't even say that last name, Red Hawks made back in Sweet 16 in 1991. Miami's first appearance in the March Madness since 2007. Miami set records this year for the best start to the season in the program's history, the best start for the programs in the MAC history, the longest winning streak in MAC history, and the most consecutive conference wins in MAC history, and the most wins in program history as the Reds and White become just the fifth NCAA D1's men program this century to go undefeated in regular season play. The SMU enters in NCAA tournament record with 20-13. They are 8-10 in the ACC. The Mustangs fell 62-58 against Louisville in the second round of the ACC tournament. Let me fix that for you guys. And last Wednesday, SMU went 24-11 last year. Head coach Andy Enfield's first season and participated in the NITF. Enfield has enjoyed success in the NCAA tournament at his previous head coaching stops, including a Cinderella run in the Sweet 16 with Florida Gulf Coast in 2013 and taking on the USC Trojans in the NCAA 5 times, highlighted by 2001 Elite 8 run. So look, this game will be on at 9 o'clock here on True TV. I'm rooting for SMU. I'm kind of waiting off on these final 2 games to finish up tonight before I officially make my predictions. So tomorrow morning, I'll be making my predictions. In the first segment in our program, we will be opening up just revealing who we have selected. Now, I'm in a couple different brackets this year, so I'm going to give you the best one that I have going for me thus far. And you play along. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I'm very much of an amateur at this, but it's a fun time to have just fun things like this take place. So, let me know in the brackets who you guys are favoriting to win overall, and let's have those conversations. Alrighty, let me just cover the Cincinnati Bearcats. They wrapped up a 2-game series against Utah Valley yesterday and Monday. They won both the games, winning on Monday in 8 innings with the final score 11-1. They picked up the win yesterday, 6-3 final score in the afternoon game. The Bearcats, let me see if there's a box score. The Bearcats put up 6 runs on 8 hits and 0 errors, while Utah Valley put up 3 runs, 3 hits, and 2 errors. On a scoring drive, Utah Valley got out front to an early 1-0 lead due to a wild pitch in the second inning. The third inning, Bearcats respond back through a single through the left side of the infield, scoring in Derek Pitts from second base. Utah Valley answered back in the same inning off of a single to center field by Chipper Beck, scoring in DJ Massey, taking the lead 2-1. Cincinnati comes back and scores in the seventh inning with a double down the left field line by Jack Natalie, scoring in Derek Pitts from second, and Colton Quitz scored in from first, giving them a 3-2 lead. The Reds tackle on some more runs in the seventh inning as Ryan Transky hit a home run to center field. His third of the season was a 2-run RBI, scoring in Enzo and Feliz from first base. Utah Valley tried to respond back in the bottom half of the seventh from Hunter Kasky, who homered to left field, his seventh of the season. Cincinnati added one more run as Colton Quint hit his 15th home run of the season in the eighth inning, 436 feet out to center field, giving them a 6-3 lead. Pitching wise for the Bearcats, Brendan Guriolaw, apologize if I butcher that name. He began the game. He only pitched one inning, giving up a run, 3 walks, and no strikeouts to his outing. Carson Marsh, he pitched an inning and 2/3, only striking out one batter, no hits, no runs. He picked up the win for the Bearcats. Dominic Mario picked up the save as he pitched 2 innings and struck out 2 batters. And for Utah Valley, Bradley Gilbert lost this game. He moves to 2-1-2 as he pitched an inning and a third, gave up 4 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, and 1 wild pitch, and 1 hit batter. Carson Wentz moves to 4-1, and Dominic Morrow saves his first game of the season. Cincinnati Bearcats are traveling back to Cincinnati here as they get ready. Are they traveling back to Cincinnati? Yep, they are traveling back to Cincinnati for some Big 12 action, as they will wait on Friday in a 3-game series with Utah. Excuse me, just with Utah. At the UC Baseball Stadium, Friday is at 6 p.m., Saturday is at 3 p.m., and Sunday they wrap up the 3-game series at 1 p.m. All games are available on ESPN Plus. And Tuesday, mark your calendars for March 24th at the Hayden Field in Cincinnati, Ohio, as Cincinnati will travel across the highway to meet Xavier Musketeers for the Joe Nuxle Classic game. First pitch of that game is at 3 p.m., and they would have another Joe Nuxle Classic coming up here in Mason, Ohio, against Miami, Ohio, Wright State, on April 7th. So if you guys look at anything to get out to that game, mark that calendar, May 24th. That is your local around the news sports here for the Cincinnati Bengals Bearcats. And now let's get into some football conversations here today. We're just rolling right along. We're going to keep on rolling into the conversations here today, as we want to provide you an update here with I posted something yesterday on our Facebook page. Okay. And basically I saw an article. It was about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They hired Mike McCarthy, passing Mike Tomlin as the head coach. Okay. And the question lies is that, great, you hired Mike McCarthy, you're on this new era, you're ready to move on, but one of the biggest questions out there for Pittsburgh is still afloat. It's what do you do at the quarterback position? And it seems that the Pittsburgh Steelers are waiting on Aaron Rodgers' decision if he's going to retire or not. And I'm seeing fans with mixed opinions. A lot of people are okay waiting for Aaron Rodgers. As a matter of fact, they hope for him to come back. But some fans are saying, let's move on. We got to move on. Mike McCarthy can't begin his new era unless we know who the quarterback is for the Steelers. And that's fair to say, right? I asked the question, how long should the Steelers wait for Aaron Rodgers' decision? There's no timetable on the clock, okay? And there's no realistic vision on, if Aaron Rodgers wants to continue or not. And as long as there's no timetable, Aaron Rodgers is going to drag it out. He's going to wait as long as he can, and he's going to not report or say anything until someone forces his hand to say something, or they're going to, they're going to decide, hey, we're going to move on. He's going to report when he's ready. And if the Steelers, who seem to be open to bringing back Aaron Rodgers, they have a couple of options, okay? That you could either bring him back, wait for him to make the decision, and if he comes back, great, or you can make the decision to move on. And if the Steelers decide, hey, we're going to start moving on and start looking at quarterbacks, start looking at who's next in line, that may not intrigue Aaron Rodgers on wanting to come back. So the Steelers are in a sticky situation, and it doesn't look like it's a really good start to how the Steelers want to present themselves heading into this new season and under this new era of Mike McCarthy. Now, if it was in my opinion, no disrespect to Aaron Rodgers, by all means, I'd move on. I'm saying I'm ready to move on from Aaron Rodgers. And so I am sitting here saying to myself that, Aaron Rodgers, if you don't want to make a decision, I got this till this date. I need to start looking at the draft and seeing if there's a quarterback. Free agency and quarterback-wise are bypassing me as we speak today. Okay, I could be out here at a free agent looking for another quarterback. And so my point is, if I was the Steelers, I'd be saying, all right, I'm ready to move on. And I just don't think it helps the Steelers heading into 2026 when we don't have those answers clear. Now, I want to speak highly of this. I'm not a Debbie Downer on this. I encourage, if Aaron Rodgers wants to come back and he has a good relationship with the Steelers and can have a good relationship with Mike McCarthy and things work out, I want to see Aaron Rodgers return. But if he doesn't, then, I want to see Steelers move out. It's all about competition. We're not here to sit here and talk about bias. I'm not going to sit here and tread saying, oh, I hate the Steelers, and it's good for them that they have, this dilemma. No, that's not the case. But they do have to make a decision. So if you guys are following us on our Facebook page, you guys scroll down, see that post. It was posted a couple hours ago, early this morning. I encourage you to weigh in your comments. We'll talk about it later if the people post on it. And as the story develops, we will continue those conversations. With all that being said, I do have another question for the Bengals fans. Okay. Based off of what we saw on free agency so far, it's been, they made a little splash, but they've also has been lackluster, correct? Not really much any big moves. They addressed a couple of things defensively, and I understand ahead of time. I want to make sure that this is apparent. I understand that the Bengals have to divide themselves. What are we going to get at the draft? What are we going to get now? The less you have to worry about depending on the draft when it comes down to, this coming up draft season, the better I think your situation is going to be. Because there's no guarantees that you're going to get the players you want. And once those players are off the board, it's like, where do you go from here? We'll get the next best player. Okay, right? There's also no guarantees that who you pick up is going to be the next big thing. So I saw this article. I want to share it with you. It's from the bengalwire.usatoday.com. I encourage you guys to check it out. It was written yesterday in the morning by Chris Walling. The article was, the Bengals appear to be making massive mistakes on two critical positions, and they both come from the defensive sides. Well, we know that the Bengals have been aggressively attacking the edge rusher in free agencies, but it came at a cost that wasn't just in dollars. There's still two big problems that come to mind when you look at what the Bengals need to do in the offseason, right? Originally, there was four. We had the pass rusher, which we knew we needed to be aggressive on. There was the safety in the back, which we picked up Brian Cook for that. Now there's a linebacker and cornerback position that we need to answer. right? So we tackled on the pass rusher situation. We didn't pick up one, we picked up two guys. All right. Not saying that we don't need to go into the draft thinking that, hey, if there's a pass rusher available that's talented, we need to go pick them up. But there are other things that we need to be focusing on. All right, great. Brian Cook, our safety, we've added a backfield, which is great. Now when we go into the draft, we could think of, all right, we don't need a starter, but we need someone to follow up to play in that position as a backup. But, our two main focus, and I don't know we should be relying on the draft to fill in these needs, are our linebacker and quarterback slots. Historically speaking, in this article, the modern Bengals have done a not so great job for entering drafts with those type of needs. Okay, Bengals they suck at it. It's given. It's what's caused the Billy Price disaster after Frank Gosnow came after the board in front of them in 2018. For example, so you see these two areas simply overlooked. The big names came off the free agency board is concerning. Okay, is a team so dramatically rebuilding one side of the ball while being so all in on the other side is a quick one down. All right, so basically the question is that it seems like the Bengals are in this the focus on spending and trying to rebuild this defense dramatically all in 1 year. Yet they don't play defense. They are a offensive front. They re-signed a couple of tackles. They're not really putting a lot into anything special. They believe that what they have offensively, they have in set. So they're putting all their chips in on the defensive side. Josh Newton had potential as a long-term Mike Hilton replacement, but never really looked the part. He landed 69th out of 114th quarterbacks last season at the PFF and would likely be weak point next year. Defense constantly attacked. Guys like Newton and Jalen Davis are fantastic depths, but this is a 3-cornerback league now at a minimum. The Bengals can't afford to mess with Dax Hill's potential of position yet again and throw a rookie out there, even if the 10th pick risk repeating a rookie linebacker mistake from last year. Again, if the need is the obvious to outsiders, other teams know it and can move around the Bengals on draft day. Okay, linebacker Duke Tobin, Alex Gordon, and others wax poetic about not repeating the Oren Burks mistakes from last year. Right now, Burks would be one of the best free agent linebackers left in the market. So what gives? Did the Bengals focus on one free agent with and not have enough time to talk with others, where they exaggerating their interest in adding help? Or were the same communications issues between the scouting department and Al Gordon about actual needs happening yet again? At this point, it doesn't really matter. The Bengals are stuck with Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter as starters, bearing the linebackers in the top 10. But the start of another rookie just like last year. All right, so let's be clear about this. Right? I'm not saying that what they did during the free agency, the players that they've signed aren't beneficial. I think that they, it kind of, in a sense, it kind of shut up a lot of fans, a lot of spectators, analysts about, well, what are the Bengals going to do? But we've mentioned this in the past weeks that, great, you sign some players, but that's it. What's the next move? And how much are you going to rely? Now, we know that this is not their strength. Maybe they can be better. But as I mentioned, the more you could take off of the pressure from the draft and finding a free agent, finding someone who's been there, done that, who could take the starting position with a comfortable, respected level, not bringing in a rookie, expecting him to be this lights out person. That's what we need to focus on. So bringing in 2 pass rushers, was that necessary? It was an aggressive move. I think it really helps out the front. Now you shift your focus back to the linebacker position, cornerback position, where we aren't strengthened in the in the draft, and now we have to turn our attention to what we really weaken. But could the Bengals make another run? So my question is to you as a Bengals fan: have the Bengals made a mistake in free agency by being aggressive at the edge rusher and at the safety position, knowing that they need cornerbacks and linebackers to also fill in? Or do you have the confidence that the Bengals are going to turn things around, pick up solid draft players this year where we need them from, and these players are coming out of the draft are going to be a good fit right off the bat? I don't know. Let me know. All right. So before we get into our next conversation, we do want to actually, you know what? We're not going to be able to get to everything today. So let me just, it always happens. I always book myself, right? Other updating news here around sports. The WNBA Players Union reported agreed to new CBA. What we know about historical deals, including the new salary cap. The WNBA is players have agreed to a new collective bargaining agreement in the early mornings hours of Wednesday. This is an article written on CBSSports.com by Jack Maloney. You can read the article yourself, but the WNBA and the Women's National Basketball Players Association have agreed on the terms of a new collective bargaining agreement. According to Front Office Sports, the agreement reached in early Wednesday morning ends a bitter labor fight that lasted for more than a year and ensures that the 2026 season will now start on time. This is something that Major League Baseball needs to take note of. Okay, we don't want the Major League Baseball season to start late next year. So we need to start figuring out how they can get this done. All right. The 2026 WNBA regular season, the 30th in the league history, is set to tip off May 8th. Before that, the 2026 WNBA draft will be held on April 13th. Training camps will then open on April 19th, followed by preseason games beginning April 25th. The details of the CBA are still unclear, but the 2026 salary cap will be $7 million. So there is a salary cap up from $1.5 million in 2025. That's a $5.5 million increase, which represents the average revenue share of 20% across the deal, according to ESPN. The Supermax will start at $1.4 million, with the average salaries in the $600,000 range and minimum salaries above $300,000. Okay. Here's what reporter said. For the first time, players' salaries are tied to a truly meaningful share of the league's revenue, driving exponential growth in the salary cap, increasing average compensation beyond $500,000 and raising professional standards across facility, staffing, and support. WNBA president Nika Ogwenmike told the Front Office Sports, it strengthens housing and retirement and expands resources for family planning and prenatal leave. It redefines what it means to be a professional in this league. I think it's great. I think that the women are finally getting paid. We know that they would, right? But what is it going to do? It is probably going to jack up prices, but WNBA is getting more attention these days with the competitiveness. So WNBA got a new CBA agreement there. Before we move on, I just want to go ahead and give you a promotion. This is not a advertisement read, but the WWE 2K26 is now available. Jump in and play as your favorite superstar, follow universe mode, or even the showcase and relive moments and even get a chance to change history as you follow along CM Punk's career. You get your games online or you can get them at the stores today. This is not a sponsor. This is not a promotion. This is a friendly promotional ad, help encouraging for the sports conversations that we talk about on our program. All right, real quick, uh, Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar Monday had a really powerful statement. We talked yesterday, breaking the news that at WrestleMania 42, Oba Femi will be facing Brock Lesnar in one-on-one competition. There was some extra footage and photos that were leaked out yesterday, kind of showing tears running down Obo's face after his encounter with Brock Lesnar. There was also some speculation that Brock was, giving him directives, putting the foot on his chest, and almost broke kayfabe by smiling and laughing. And I think this is great. It reminds you about how good Brock Lesnar is, about how much he's willing to give back to this program. It's one of those things. It's a great sensation to feel that you could see Brock Lesnar make that return. It's also great for emotional effect. If you're not invested into Obafemi and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, this is how you get invested into Obafemi and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I love this moment. It was a special moment, and man, it makes me want to see what story they could tell in the ring heading into WrestleMania 42. Okay. All right. The other thing I wanted to mention when it came down to wrestling, I got to be honest with you. No Gunther on Monday, kind of concerning. He's been on this rant, on this roll. Last time we saw Gunther was at the beginning of the month, March 2nd, where he beat Dragon Lee. There are speculations that the WWE may not have plans for him at the moment. Rey Mysterio was the latest rumored to be facing Gunther in a retirement match. Okay, but apparently before the Royal Rumble, Rey Mysterio fractured a couple ribs. He's been out of action since then, and now it's uncertain that Gunther may have a wrestling match. Now, I'm sure the WWE is going to at least toss something out there. It's kind of hard not to figure out, but without not knowing the future of Gunther, without not having him in the storyline, it's like, what's next? Who's next to retire? Right? If that's the path that we're following on. So one of the other things, I don't want to keep talking negative about where the WWE. I feel the WWE is at on the road to WrestleMania, because I can sit here and talk about it all day long. I just hope that the WWE finds something for Gunther here in the upcoming week or so. Someone ready to retire? I don't know. Still step up. Alrighty, we're going to get into our next conversation. We're going to preview the Detroit Tigers and the Milwaukee Brewers. Before we do so, we want to give a shout out. The MLB The Show 26 is now available. Play your road to the show. You can play your franchise mode, your Diamond Dynasty World Baseball Classic, and so much more. Unlock featured players and have a blast time. I know I will be getting my game here very shortly as I finish up MLB The Show 25 spring training. But the MLB The Show 26 is now available online or wherever you get your get your gaming at. Check out MLB The Show 26. This is not a paid promotion. Just a friendly shout out for what we provide here. Alrighty, let's dive into our previews. The Detroit Tigers are the first team that we will be taking a look at. Earlier this week, we talked about the Chicago Cubs, the Cincinnati Reds, the Cleveland Guardians, and the Chicago White Sox. Today, the Tigers, who finished off 87 and 75 last year, entering this season, looking to repeat going back to the playoffs. They seem more of the dominant team in the American League. As far as pitching-wise goes, you got Tariq Skubal, who's aiming to win his third straight Cy Young award since Randy Johnson, which will be, I think, a credible opportunity. Framber Valdez, who was picked up by the Astros, Justin Verlander, who returns back to a Tigers uniform. You got Kenley Jansen, who's chasing his 500th career since in saves, total saves of his career. There's a lot of positive things going around collectively when it comes down to the Tigers' rotation and bullpen that you can't help that they are probably one of the best pitching staffs put together in this division. Well, on a fielding perspective, you got Spencer Turkleson. Okay, swinging. His swing changed, and that paid off on a powerful surge last season. Riley Green anchored to this lineup. He found his way last year as well. Kerry Carpenter, lethal slugger against right-handed pitchers. So overall, there's a lot of great players coming from the Detroit Tigers, and I feel like they are one of the best suits coming out of the American League Central that is well put together, that has the overall goal and game plan set on their stage, and they are capable of going the distance, winning the division. Matter of fact, I have them winning the American League Central this year. And I have and I think one thing you'll look out for the Tigers this year is a lot of historical value to be set heading into this year. Now, it's about getting over that hump, right? Tigers surprised a lot of people, got to the postseason last year. You get back again this year, you repeat, and you make that mark, and I feel like they'll be set for a couple years. Now, hey, risky business, Casey Mize. He's improved on control, but he lacks the strikeouts. So something that we're looking for a change. But Colt Keith struggles with lefties, but took a step forward in power matrix, who's led for the potential breakout that he deserves this year. Looking down for the Tigers prospects, we have Kevin McGonigal, one of the best hitters right now in the minors, handles lefties well, and has power. You also got Max Clark, great visual at the plate and makes solid contact, and Brian Rayner, who speeds around the bases and is a solid arm at shortstop. So right now, they also do have themselves a solid position down in the minors, looking to be called up. I wouldn't be surprised to see one or two of them called up at some point this season, if not next year. The Milwaukee Brewers finished off last season 97-65. They made it to the playoffs. They ended up losing, I believe, to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Got swept by them. Wasn't even a contest. Some new faces, and some changes as we don't see Freddie Peralta with the rotation anymore. Brandon Woodruff finds his way to adapt despite injuries. Jacob Mizorowski, most electrifying pitcher in baseball, 100-mile fastball. That honestly feels like 105, to be honest. Trevor McGill, you know, high strikeouts, low walks, great improvement, great assets on the rotation side. Fielding, Christian Yelich. Look, this is a guy I've expected to retire, right? He's rediscovered his power and speed since back surgery. So, tell me about that. Let me talk with Christian Yelich and how he's been able to improve, because I have not had the much success as he had when it comes down to back surgery. Andrew Vaughn, a career change since being traded. Hey, sometimes you just need a new scenery. Jackson Chourio, who we saw in the World Baseball Classic, set to win hopefully to win an MVP. Hey, he's only 22 years old. He's a young kid. He has still a lot to offer for, in his career. Look, I don't know. I feel like they have taken a step back. I don't see them winning the division. Maybe they come in as a wild card this year. It really just depends. How can the Reds answer with injuries? I got them finishing third in my projection, just as it stands. Bryce Terang, hits the ball hard, but he needs to get it in the air, right? That's a change that we need to see this year. But Andrew Vaughn, right, change of scenery, has a lot of potential. Okay, down in the minor leagues right now, Jason Maid could be a 300 hitter, probably one of his best, and could be a several 30 for 30 ball player at times. Luis Pena, All right, a year behind Made, but just exactly like him in a lot of aspects. And Logan Henderson, a great fastball, chained up and change up, gives chances to be in the rotation very, very soon. Without Peralta in there, to be honest, I mean, who knows, right? We could see Peralta, we could see these young guys step up. But that's what's great about Milwaukee, right? It's let's see how we adapt. They're making changes slowly, allowing their team to adapt and to move. All right. Well, the Cincinnati Reds have a kind of more of a development game coming into today's matchup as they get ready to take on the, let's see where we're at here. The Los Angeles Angels. There's a game is it a split squad? Yeah, it is a split squad. We got game number 1 at 4:05 at Goodyear Ballpark, where they will take on Brady Singer, right-handed pitcher, and then also Chase Burns will be on the mound for the Redlegs at 4:10 at in Los Angeles. Let me take a look at that game real quick. I forgot to add the other one. Chase Burns enters in with a 1-1 record and 4.50 ERA with 13 strikeouts, as the Angels will have Jack Wentz on the mound with a 2.08 ERA. In the second game, we will have Jose Jose Quintana on the mound, left-handed pitcher, 1-1 with a 10.38 ERA and 6 strikeouts, going up against right-handed pitcher Brady Singer, who's 1-0 with a 5 ERA uh, on spring training. Well, on top of that, yesterday, the Reds ended up losing to losing to the Guardians 8-6. Guardians put up 8 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors, as the Reds put up 6 runs off of 7 hits and 2 errors as well. Lodolo pitched 2-4 and 2/3 of an inning with 3 hits, 3 runs. 2 of them are earned, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, allowed a home run. Graham Ashcraft pitched out an inning. Sam Maul, Brock Burke, who ended up losing the game, also blowed the save, who allowed 3 hits, 5 runs, and 3 walks in the outing. And we did see a Noelvi Marte home run, Alcantara home run in the 9th as well to the Reds' loss. Look, we'll get Suarez back. Great to see, great to fun to talk about that. All right. So, we got some developing news heading into the regular season. First of all, I want to congratulate and announce that Jeff Brantley, Cincinnati's radio broadcast, the Cowboy Jeff Brantley, has been named as the opening day marshal for the Cincinnati Reds. I think it's an honor to be able to be the opening day marshal. I'm sure they'll be talking about that today. Cincinnati Reds are also starting to fill in their opening day roster spots, as Rhett Lauder, Chase Burns, and Brandon Williamson will all be a part of the opening day roster. According to Reds manager Terry Francona, this will not last forever, and the plan is to keep all 3 pitchers stretched out to start. The expectation is that Williamson will come off in relief of Burns or Lauder for Game 4 or 5 of the 2026 season, but Francona left open the possibility of mixing and matching those 3 depending on opponent. So, looks like one of the spots will be available. So, all 3 of them, congratulations, by the way. Let's give a congratulations to all 3 men. But it looks like Burns and Lauder is going to be the 4 and 5 starters. Williamson's going to be down in the bullpen. Now, while Burns and Lauder continue to get work in, they may split the innings, right? If we're expecting them to go in and pitch 6 innings and they only give us 3, well, Brandon Williamson could eat a couple innings. The mentality, I think, is there, because now Brandon Williamson knows I'm going to come out of the bullpen, so I'm still going to get ready, but I got to time it up right just to get in, depending how Burns and Rhett Lauder goes, right? So if you have that mindset that you're going to be a longevity pitcher coming in every 4 to 5 days to eat up 3-4 innings at most, then that is a good start. Now, if something happens, you have to scratch Burns or you have to scratch Louder from the lineup, Williamson fits right in. What and I'm glad that Francona says, hey, this is temporary. You got 3 pitchers, and let's face it, I'm not trying to look at numbers, but it's hard to look past the numbers. Francona, based off of what I've seen, I don't see a lot coming from right now from these 3 guys on a consecutive, consistent basis. You give me 4 innings here, 3 innings there. I need 5 innings. And so the decision to do this, I think, is great. But I will say this, okay? Because it also now takes up a bullpen spot. So that's one less guy you have out of the bullpen. So you're now telling Singer, Lodolo, and Abbott, that you have to give us constant innings. This is certainly not what we expected when it came down when spring training began. We had Hunter Green undergo elbow surgery just last week. The plan would likely been a little bit different, but for now, we're going to see Louder, Burns, Williamson, Abbott, Lodolo, and Singer all break camp in the big league. Williamson has earned this honor as a lefty, suffered an elbow injury at the tail end of 2024, missed all 2025 under Tommy John surgery. Williamson has arguably been Cincinnati's best starting pitcher this spring with a 1.64 ERA and 13 punchouts in his first Cactus League games, keeping the trio to Louder, Burns, Williamson on opening day roster, especially during the early going, should help the balance and workload of 3 pitchers and miss time in 2025. Williamson, as mentioned previously, had recorded Tommy John surgery, battled a forearm strain last spring, and then suffered an oblique injury during the rehab assignment that forced him to miss the entire season. Burns was shut down for a few weeks last season with a grade 1 right flexor strain. Goldschmidt also mentioned the former top prospect Connor Phillips will also be a part of the Reds opening day roster, meaning that there will be a 6 or 7 bullpen spot have now been spoken for. With Williamson, a left-handed pitcher, now the roster Sam Wall spot may not be clear as a clear cut as it was last week. Hagen Danner is also looking to secure an invite to the Cincinnati Reds opening day roster. All right, so hey, we got the ball going. It's not official, but this is what we're looking at. Cincinnati Reds filling in their spot. They're a week away. It's great to see that Francona has some decisions that he wants to make. He's seen progress this spring, and we're going to see it unravel. So we're going to see how opening day looks. It's not going to look pretty. It's not going to look how we ideally want it to look. It never does. All right? This is what how the Reds play baseball, unfortunately, and it's not Reds' fault necessarily. It's not the players' fault. Injuries happen, and the best are going to play, right? That's just the bottom line of it. So, but we are looking forward to opening day, and that's what we have a little bit more into it. So we'll be back again tomorrow. We'll be talking about the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals. Nope, Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates and Royals tomorrow, as we talk MLB, American National League Central predictions. We will also talk some more Bengals football, some college basketball. We'll give you our break and take of the NCAA tournament and much more. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. This is all the time I have for you guys today. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button, whether you guys are watching us on our YouTube page, our Facebook page. If you're downloading us and listening to us on the road, we thank you. We appreciate your support, and we invite you to come subscribe and follow all of our social media channels. Until tomorrow, you guys have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Take care.